Welcome, everyone, to the West Coast Sports Junkies podcast. This is episode 36. A pretty exciting episode we have for you guys today. We have a lot of good things happening out of our local Vancouver Canucks. Cleaned house. I'm sure Mike and Ty are very happy to see Jim. Bye-bye, Jim. New hashtag. The Seahawks finally got their big monkey off their back and got a win at home. I know Mike and Ty were live in person. Definitely brought their good luck to the team, and we got a big UFC coming up this weekend. I know Mike has got a lot to talk about, maybe some of his picks. But before we get into all of that, Mike and Ty, how was the weekend? How is it going over the border? The live in person, finally you're back at the game. The 12s were roaring. What was it like?
Oh, buddy, it was so much fun, man. Like the whole experience was phenomenal all over. We went down on Saturday and we stayed at Ty's place down in Washington and Birch Bay there. And obviously we drank too much, as we usually do at that establishment. And then he likes to wake us up really early on the Sunday morning to all head down to the game. And we did, and it was couples. It was me and my wife, Ty and his wife, and then Trav and Serena also joined us. And I think, at the game, I think we made Serena. It was the first time ever being at a football game or an NFL game anyways. And I think she's becoming a Seahawks fan. What do you think, Ty?
Yeah, she was really into it. She was on her feet for most of the game. Our wives told us, obviously. Mike and I were sitting in our normal seats. We brought our good luck, obviously, as you said, Dan. The Seahawks got a big win. But no, yeah, I think we got a new NFL fan in Serena. Gladys and Dolly said she was up cheering and yelling the entire time. And
well, that's definitely going to be a household fighting of the birds with Trav and Serena, being that he's quite the Ravens fan and she becomes a Seahawks fan. Look forward to those battles.
Yeah, and apparently Trav was standing the entire time too. I think he was probably standing because he's secretly still a Seahawks fan, but the girls were saying his ass was a little cold from sitting on the bleachers in the Hawks nest. So
that was the only negative about the whole day, was that it was scorching cold, man. It was freezing out there. I had to go buy a blanket. That's how cold it was.
Blanket man.
Yeah, man, it was so cold. I can't remember. Again, I guess it's been a couple of years since I've been down there, and I should have known. I even brought his jacket, but I left it in the car. I'm like, oh, it's a sunny day here in Seattle. It should be fine. Oh, man, but as soon as that sun started going down, it was freezing.
Yeah, you got tricked by the sun, man. That's a rookie mistake, Mike.
That's
Maybe
true.
It's just because you haven't been for a while, but
that is very true, man. But yeah, though, let's start talking about the game. Like, it's such a last week you wanted to fire every single Seahawk that stepped on the field, and it was a little bit.
I wanted to fire Pete.
It was unconventional of Pete, the calling of that game. Our first touchdown. What was that? Fake
punt from our own 25 early in the game.
We had sat down. We're like, oh, here we go. He's even started chirping. Oh, it's coaching, blah blah blah. And then the fake punt. I'm like, whoa.
He must have listened to our podcast last week, because he definitely changed some things. It's all the stuff that I was talking about. Like, he needs to adapt. He needs to be, a better coach, and take a few more chances. I mean, we're 3-8. Like, what's there to lose? We got to win out to even have a chance. So I mean, it was really nice to see him do some of these things, like the fake punt, like going for it on fourth down, even though it backfired eventually when they didn't kick that field goal late in the game. But he did some things. Mike, you were really excited to see Peterson get a touchdown.
I was, yeah. I am a Peterson fan. I think he's a great running back, one of the greats of all time.
But it looked like the offense looked more in sync. It was a little more up tempo.
Well, not in the first quarter, though, right? The first quarter, at least. I think we had more yards going backwards than we did going forwards.
The first quarter of that game, that's why we needed to go get a couple beers earlier on than usual, right? We didn't even wait till the end of the first quarter because it was bad. That was probably the worst quarter the entire season that I've seen. Or maybe it was just because it was in person. Remember I was telling you that.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly, man. But I mean, something changed. Something clicked in them probably at the half there that,
it was a weird game. A lot of turnovers. Garoppolo didn't look great, which I don't think he ever really does. Gerald Everett, 2 lost fumbles. Like just a weird random game. It was a really fun game to be at though. And yeah, it was great to be back at the stadium. I do have one more complaint though. I feel like they got rid of a lot more of the beer stands around our section.
Yes, and then even where we are, we're right beside the Hawks nest, and you can go down below, like if it's raining and stuff like that, and sort of watch the game from down there, like undercover. And they've sort of put big barriers up, so you can't do that anymore. You can't go grab a drink and then watch it from down there. And we have our little hard bar area there, which is difficult. You got to show ID to get into it, and then you get into it. You only have 1 drink a person or something like that. Like remember, I went to the washroom, and Ty stood in line to get us a couple of beers, and you can only get 1. So I'm going to go stand in line again. So that was
I think the third quarter, they implement the one drink per person rule. Maybe that was done this season because they've been so bad, people have been just getting wasted. So they had to cut booze back a bit in the second half when the game was out of reach. But like you said, it was awesome to be down there, and obviously great for the Seahawks to get back on the right track. And like Pete Carroll said in his post-game little rant to the team, they're not dead yet. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks here.
That's true. And
so what does that mean? What does that mean for the Seahawks and your guys' projection, or what your thoughts are for the team going into next season? Let's just say hypothetically they win out. And make almost the playoffs. Guaranteed they are not going to do that. But let's just say if they win out, do you guys want to see Pete hold down the fort again?
No.
Or regardless of what happens the rest of the season, either you lose every game or win every game, it's time to reset and have a new voice.
Well, I got a really good feeling about this season after seeing that game. I think that we've really turned the page on that crappy play, and we're going to be going forward. We got nothing to lose. Swing for the fences. And I think that this is the team that could do it. They could win out. They could still make the playoffs. And I think that I still have faith. I think that they're going to. I think that Pete will be here. And I think that if they do that, he's definitely going to be here next year as well.
Enough is enough. It's time for a change.
It's time to start a new hashtag, Diane.
Regardless if we win out, like I said, I've been saying every week, thank you, Pete. Thanks for the Super Bowl. Thank you, John. Thanks for the consistent years. We've been spoiled the last decade, pretty much since Russ came into the league. This is the worst season since his rookie year, and we finished 8-8 his rookie year, I believe. So anyways, I just think it's time for a change. I want someone new. I want a different head coach, bring some younger, new ideas into this new NFL, because this ain't it for us. This ain't it. But
look, man, you're getting a little greedy now. Everything that you wanted to happen in Vancouver with the Canucks has happened this last week, which we're going to get into. I just want to make one more comment about the Seahawks game, and that was the first play of the game, the kickoff. We had Trent Cannon get injured on the very first play, and we didn't even think anything of it because we're in the stands. We don't see what you guys are seeing on the replays and stuff like that. They didn't show many replays in the stadium, and all we see is it's just taking longer and longer. And then an ambulance comes on the field. We're like, holy shit, this is real serious. Start texting some of my buddies like, what's going on? They saying he hit his neck on somebody's knee. We don't know who, what, where, whatever, how this guy's doing, but he was taken away in a hospital. Obviously, we thought it was going to be a horrible situation, but he just came out with a concussion, so that's good news. His neck and back and spine, everything should be okay. So over in Vancouver, Tyler, last week you called for everyone's heads. You wanted them on a platter and you want to post them up on your wall, and you got them all. How do you feel?
I just actually finished a bottle of champagne, popped the bubbly. I was celebrating. Okay, you know what? I did call for all that, and I'm super happy it happened. But at the end of the day, they tried. They did their jobs. 2 people still lost their job, which sucks. But they weren't doing their job. They weren't living up to expectations. Well, the two that I've been calling for. You know what I mean? But yes, more than two, obviously. But yeah, on to the next new era, exciting era in Canuck history here.
They absolutely cleaned house, man.
I think I'm going to have to get a hat.
They got rid of Benning.
Thank you, Francesco, now.
Well,
that was one of the guys you called for too. You wanted him.
Well, it's hard to fire the owner, Mike.
He wants the ace of spades
for them. Didn't Benning and Green just sign extensions? So I'm sure they're still going to be getting paid. It's not like they're not going to be able to buy Christmas presents or anything. So I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, no, not that you feel bad, but I'm not celebrating that they two people lost their jobs. That's all I was saying.
It's a lot different than how normal people lose their jobs. Let me tell you, they're not going to be making $5-6 million for the next 2 years, 3 years. Sitting on the couch.
Benning's not going to be getting this type of job anytime soon after this performance.
Well,
he might have to change his ways of his living costs.
What do you think Benning's going to be remembered for here in Vancouver?
Drafting Oli Levy over Matthew Tkachuk. No.
Dan, what do you think, buddy?
I think signing ridiculous contracts with no trade clauses.
I think
literally people that
you could write a small book on his bad moves.
For sure, it's going to be the salaries that he's he had to deal with there, especially like the Louis Eriksson deal, man. Just sort of hovered over him the entire time he's been here.
Totally.
Just one of those things, man. That's kind of sad, but he did a couple of good things too. What would you say the best thing he did was here in Vancouver?
Demko, Besser, Petey, and Quinn Hughes, I would say. Trading for JT Miller, I'd say was probably his best trade because I think every other one of his trades were flops, complete flops when you look back at them. We don't have enough time on the podcast for the next 10 episodes to go over all the bad things he did.
Yeah. I think Markstrom, I think that was a big stoop move. They should have re-signed him. Obviously,
I disagree. I like Demko.
Obviously, Toffoli, I think that was a big flop as well.
Yeah, also not trading those expiring contracts who we didn't end up signing anyways, like at the deadline, getting nothing for them.
Yeah. True.
Like the guys you said there, just letting them all walk.
Mm.
Because he was so focused on Ekman Larson that he forgot to contact Toffoli's agent and all the rest of them. But anyways, it's exciting times, and what a way to kick off the new era last night with the 4-0 victory.
Bruce. They get a win with Big Bad Bruce.
I like him.
A good nickname for him. What's a good nickname for him?
Did you hear them chanting in the song in the arena? You know the song like,
what was it?
There it is, Bruce. There it is. And they kept chanting that all third period, I believe. And then he's funny, man.
They played though. Hey, I don't know if that. I mean, talk about a spark in the team. Like that they have it in them. Like, just gotta bring that out of them every night.
But that is something that usually happens when a coach is fired. So it'll be interesting to see over the next, even not the next game, but over the next 2-3 weeks how it progresses. He's still learning their names. His press conference after the game, someone asked him about the he's like, oh yeah, Garland got the second goal because forecheck and good physical play, and then he's like, the third one, what's his name? Help me out here. And then they said I think it was Lamico, and he's like, oh, Lammy, yeah, I'm still learning all the names, blah, blah, blah. But I had guys on the bench helping me out when I was trying to put people out on the PK and on the power play. Didn't know anyone, because think about it, he pretty much signed, and he was there for the morning skate.
They had a game that day.
Yeah, no, I do actually like the signing of Bruce Boudreau, and I think that he's got a good sense of humor. I remember watching the lead up to when he was in Washington, and they did I think it was the Capitals versus the Pens, and how they had those that TV series,
Road to the Winter Classic.
Yeah. And he was on it. He was on it quite a bit, and he was like shopping for Christmas presents for his wife and stuff. Yeah. And yeah, it was pretty funny, man. So I'm glad
he seems like a good character, very entertaining.
For sure. Yeah.
The end of his first press conference. He's an older guy. He's now, I think he's the oldest coach in the NHL now.
66. I think he's 66 in January.
But he gets up from the presser, and he's an older guy, a little stiff. He gets up and he's like, "Oh, fuck." Like, just character. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he was saying in practice or the pregame skate or whatever that the guys are whizzing around him, and it's like they're way faster than the junior boys that I was used to coaching. But yeah,
he owns a team in Minnesota. I didn't know. Found out today.
Like a junior team.
Yeah.
Was that right? And he coaches them, or he was coaching them.
I don't know about if he was coaching them or not, but it's funny. Like today, I saw a little bit of the press conference he did today, and he's like, "This is the only blue shirt I had, and it's the team that he owns." But he's like, "I wanted to blend in with the blue colors. It's the only blue shirt I own, so here we are."
Is that where he lived, or is that where he was living in Minnesota? Do you know?
I believe so, because he was coaching there, wasn't he? Like not too long ago.
I don't know.
I don't know where he's from.
Like in the NHL, I remember him coaching the Capitals and the Ducks. I don't remember him really.
I think he was in the Minnesota too. Hey, Dan?
Yeah, he had a small stint in Minnesota.
But, what I do find kind of interesting is the fact that he was hired and signed a 2-year deal before we have a GM in place.
Well, we have an interim GM, Stan Smyl.
We do. But they said they're actively looking. They're exhausting all of their options.
I sent my cover letter and resume in yesterday, explained to them how I've won our fantasy cup a few years in a row, back-to-back champ.
Have you told them? Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, I guess you've won it, so that's all that matters, right? All I want is one cup in Vancouver. So
that's it. Our goals are all aligned.
Hopefully they don't look at your other sports and look at your fantasy football management.
Yeah, that's true.
So who would you guys like to see as a potential candidate for the GM? I heard that the Montreal guy.
Oh my God, no! I do not want him.
Could be in the running.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really want him.
I don't want him. I want, who I want is I want a young, like Kyle Dubas, like analytic GM that's gonna,
like me,
not be
right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You're actually a little older than him.
What, really?
Yeah, you are. Do you remember that? I think it was John Chaika in Arizona. He was the youngest. He was like 31 when he had that job.
What happened to him? He got fried?
I don't know. There's some weird, shady shit that happened in Arizona, like with all the arena deals and with them wanting to leave. And like, I think he just wasn't happy in the situation down there. But yeah, I don't know all about that. But I like, regardless of him or not, I just want someone young with some new ideas. And it's not going to be your typical, like, it feels like there's only 40, well, obviously how many teams, but there's like 30, 40 guys that are always only considered. Coaches too. It's like a very small circle of candidates, it seems like.
But yeah, I mean, who I'd like to see, it's just a personal opinion, and it's obviously it won't happen because he's already been involved, and it's Trevor Linden, but he's not going to. He was the president.
He won't go anywhere near.
Yeah, I know, but I know I'm just a fan of his. Everything he's done for Vancouver, and I think that he would want to do build the right way to get the cup. I mean, that's
totally that was
ever since I was a kid, he's been our captain, right? So that's who I wanted to see, and it won't happen because he was there, and they obviously had a difference of opinions between him and ownership. So
yeah, I don't know, Dan, who do you want to see? Rumors are, though, back to that point quickly, is that it was based on Linden wanted to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. And ownership wanted to still try to win now with their aging core. And
yeah, so
we saw how that went.
That's my vote. But I don't know if Linden would want to step into the GM role after being the president. It's like step down, So
yeah. Yeah, Dan, what do you think?
Well, I'm a big fan of Lou. He's a local hero, and he has been dabbling in the GM of, I think it was the Canadian national team for the World Cup or maybe the Olympics. He's had some experience on the national level. He obviously knows the team. So I don't know. I think for at least a first whoever the GM is going to be, it's not going to be someone who's, going to take this team to the, the Stanley Cup right away. It's going to take some time. So I think, it's going to have to be someone that can work with ownership, because ownership is too heavily involved in the team. I mean, I was just thinking, when was the last time you've ever seen an NHL owner do a press conference? You see that, in the NFL, obviously Jerry Jones, a big figure.
But last week in Montreal, that Jeff Molson.
Well, okay, that was
It does happen. I feel like it happens. It doesn't happen in the NHL
frequently.
It happens more in the NHL though than I would say any other sport for the most part. But also, like they were talking about in the press conference, we don't have like a president or anything. So that's what Aquilini was saying, is he wants to have that role in his or someone appointed to that role, so he doesn't have to get up there and answer those questions. He seemed very uncomfortable. I don't know.
Do you think that it's too early to have Daniel Henrik?
I do personally. But
yeah. I think they need to be in like the farm team and
driving home from work today. Speaking of the Sedins, I heard something interesting. Dollywall on Donnie and Dolly there were talking about it, and he's got a lot of sources, but he was saying a name to keep an eye on is JP Barry, who is an NHL agent currently. He's actually Pedersen's agent and Hughes, and he represented the Sedins when they
wasn't Benning an agent before he became a GM?
Gillis.
Oh, Gillis, yes, Gillis. Yeah.
So Dollywall was saying a name to keep an eye on is JP Barry, and it sounds like a lot of other NHL teams are starting to kind of look that way again, as they know the player side, they know the ins and outs of the contracts and all that stuff. So I don't know. That would be an interesting one. I don't know. I honestly, we don't have the answers. Mike thinks he might be the answer. I'm going to respectfully disagree with him on that one. Mike, I just saw you take a sip there. What are you sipping on tonight? We didn't even get into our drinks.
Oh yeah, I've just been so excited with everything that's going on, eh, Ty?
Yeah,
I've got
100%.
I got a bubbly going tonight. Again, I'm still not drinking during the week here, so been training again, so I'm not drinking booze until Friday night.
Well, you definitely probably drink your week's worth on the weekend, or you did last weekend.
Yeah, I know. I blame you for that.
No way, man. But I'm drinking a Heineken this evening. Like I said, I had a bottle of champagne prior to the show to celebrate the news, the Canuck news. But Dan, what are you drinking?
Like Mike, I'm not training for anything, but it's been quite. He likes to say he's training, but I like to really see what he's training for. Anyways, it's just been very busy, hence my absences the last few weeks on the recording. I didn't dress up just for you guys. I literally walked in the door from work. So I have my coffee that is probably still cold from this morning, and that's what I'm still sipping on.
What?
All day long, and that's all I've had today.
You're drinking your coffee from this morning.
Yeah.
It's cold outside. Did you leave it in your car, or did you take it into work?
Like he does his beer. What the heck?
Did you leave that in your car, or did you at least take it into work?
No, I had it in my car. Or no, I had it at my desk.
Yeah. Okay. Let's check it.
It's made its rounds today.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But Dan, since we have you back, there were some big football games on the weekend from your the two teams that you support. What did you think of the Monday nighter last night? That was one of the craziest games stat-wise. Like
stat-wise, weather-wise. I mean, this time of the year, well, Ty, we watched the game at our local spot, Kelly's, but the weather. I don't know if you saw any of the pre-game practice that the kickers were doing. Like the ball was literally going straight, and then boom, like hard right turn, and almost like onto the sideline. The winds
looked like one of Mike's kicks, but without wind.
I mean, yeah, the weather was crazy. Obviously, look at the game plan. Like the Patriots literally ran the ball. I think it was something like 47 times, and Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times. Like,
yeah, Mike,
I think
did you see that stat, Mike?
No, I didn't.
From Mac Jones?
He basically had
ahead,
3 completions for 19 yards, and they won the game.
That's crazy.
He threw the ball 3 times and
Yeah.
beat Buffalo in Buffalo.
What's happened to Buffalo? They were the highest, most powerful offense of this year. So, and then they've kind of just fallen off the map.
So that game last night just shows why Belichick is the GOAT. Unbelievable what he did there.
Definitely a good coach. I'd like to have him in the Canucks dressing room.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely exciting. I mean, the Patriots now are leading the AFC. They have a bye coming up this week. Then they play the Colts, and then they play Buffalo again in New England, and that'll be a huge game.
Yeah, that'll probably determine the division, depending what happens next week with Buffalo.
Exactly. So that's pretty exciting, yeah. And then obviously, you know, Tom down in Tampa. He's I don't know. I told you, Ty, to place the bet when you were in Vegas about a month ago. It's going to be the oldest MVP of the season. You know, he's had a couple of hiccups here and there.
He's turning the ball over too much to be MVP.
Well, so is name another quarterback that'll be MVP that's not throwing the ball over. Stafford, no. Kyler Murray missed too many games. Rodgers, I mean, I don't know what the hell's wrong with his toe.
Rodgers, his stats are
no quarterback's going to be MVP this year. It's going to be a running back. It's going to be Taylor.
Possible.
Sure.
Maybe. But I don't know. Jonathan Taylor is a good pick. Maybe Cooper Kupp.
He's fallen off a little bit, but yeah, no, that'd be a good one. I saw something today based on, so they do all these like calculations of like the teams that are most likely, the matchup that's most likely to happen in the Super Bowl based on records and whatever, all this the rest of the season. And the favorite to land the Super Bowl matchup is the Patriots and Bucks right now, out of all the potential matchups.
How crazy would that be?
That would be insane. Oh boy.
I got to see the stupid storylines. Now this is going to settle it. Who's the greatest?
Yeah. Dan, who are you going to cheer for if that happens?
I might have to refinance my mortgage to go to that game, because that's in Sophie Stadium, isn't it? In LA? The new
LA. And LA that's going to be
big price ticket.
An expensive ticket, yeah.
Oh.
And especially if it's the GOAT Bowl, they might call it, if that happens.
That would be
wow, we got a long way to go from there. There's a few other teams that might have something to say about that, but I did think it was pretty crazy that that's like the favorite to be the Super Bowl matchup right now. Those two teams.
All righty, guys, we're back, and it is time. What a big UFC we got coming up. UFC 269 in Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. A stacked card, 2 title fights. Mike, what do you got for your picks? Let's hear them.
Yes, sir, man. This is it. Another big pay-per-view event in Vegas. And we start off the night with my boy, the Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley versus Julian Paiva. And O'Malley comes in at a -300 favorite. Paiva is a +240. And let me tell you guys what my prediction is going to be in this fight. An absolute annihilation from Sean O'Malley. I don't think Paiva has a chance. I'd be surprised if he even shows up to the ring. This is just getting ridiculous with these. They're putting these guys in there. This guy's ranked number 15. O'Malley's not even ranked. Actually, I saw a clip today of him arriving in his private jet, and his shirt says unranked on it. And he's just going to go in there, and he's going to do what he does. O'Malley is just too hard of a guy to hit. He switches stances. He moves. He throws fast. You know, he's lots of fakes. He's just on another level from these guys that are not in the top 10. We've been saying it for a long time. I know that they want to build him up, and it looks like they're doing that. But I don't see really any way that Paiva can win this fight unless, of course, he can get lucky and catch him. But if there's one thing that we saw maybe with Sean O'Malley in his last fight against Chris Matino was that to try to drag it out, to get in there and make it a dog fight, and you know, the thing is, if you're going to make it a dogfight, you got to be pushing the fight. And Matino just got his ass absolutely beat for 3 rounds. And then the ref finally felt sorry for him and called it. So, yeah. I mean, you can try that strategy. No one's really taking him down. You know, it's tough to say. I say O'Malley, he's going to win this fight. He's going to win it when he feels like it. And it is going to be a TKO.
I agree with you. I think he had a chance to finish that fight, the last fight, when he I don't know if he wanted some more screen time.
That's the thing. So I was going to say, I think he's going to finish the fight probably in the 3rd round because he wants his air time.
I feel like he's playing with fire a little bit like that, but I agree.
I actually feel like these UFC fighters are taking their more of their air time, especially in their walk-ins. I saw it the last UFC with Usman, who had the longest song in history.
I think that was more
single second of it.
I think that was more of like the mind game a little bit for in that fight. Make him wait. Covington.
Yeah, could be.
But yeah, for this fight, I'm with you. I think O'Malley's going to win by knockout. It will be added to my parlay the evening when we get into the rest of them.
I'm not sure what the odds are for him to knock him out, but it's probably pretty favored too, I would assume.
It's favored, but he's a minus 310 right now.
Yeah, so to win the fight. I jotted these down yesterday, so yeah, they obviously can change all these odds.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a bantamweight bout. The next fight we got, it's a flyweight bout. It's Kia Kara-France versus Cody Garbrandt. And this fight, we all know Cody Garbrandt. He was a former bantamweight champion, and he's actually stepping down in weight, going to 125. And he's fighting, Kia Kara-France, who's a tough dude. He's going to bring it. He's going to push the pace. He does not tire out. If we're going to say anything about, if I was going to say the best part of Garbrandt's game is his boxing. He's a great boxer. He struggles with guys that are really quick, that have that great head movement, that bounce around a lot. Garbrandt's lost. If he loses this fight, he'll have lost 5 of his last 6 fights. Even when he got that one knockout, it's a highlight reel knockout, but he was getting pushed back against the fence, and he was kind of lucky to have landed that one punch. I don't think, like I said, I think Kia Kara is going to push it. I don't know what the weight drop's going to do to Garbrandt's game. I think that in this fight, I think it's going the distance, even though they both possess knockout power. I say it's going the distance, and I'm gonna go with Kia Kara-France in this fight, and he's a plus 135. Garbrandt's a minus 155. I just think that the weight cut and everything doesn't seem to be going in this guy's favor lately. And like I said, that pace is going to be pushed.
Yeah, no, like you said, and I think there's a lot of pressure, obviously, on Cody. A lot more pressure on him to win because, like you said, if he loses, what's that, 5 out of the last 6?
Yeah, I think if he loses, he'll be cut from the UFC. He'll be probably going to Bellator or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to bet this fight. It's pretty close. I don't know a ton about France there. Do you remember who he fought last, or has he fought any like big opponents recently?
Yeah, his last fight he fought Rogerio Bontorin, and he won that via TKO in the first round, which also gave him the performance of the night bonus. And before that, he fought Brandon Royval, and he lost that fight due to a guillotine choke. But also that fight was a bonus for fight of the night. Oh, wow. And then before that, he fought Tyson Nam, won a decision there. And then before that, he lost to Brandon Moreno, who's the current champion, via decision. So this guy, like I said, he brings it, man. And I don't think he's going to be relentless. He's going to be relentless when it comes down to Cody Garbrandt. He's fought some big names, and Cody's probably one of the biggest ones too. Him and Moreno for sure.
Moreno, yeah, cool. I am going to pick Cody to win because his back's against the wall, and like you said, if he loses, he probably would be cut, or there's a good chance he'd get cut. And he's the veteran, obviously. We'll go with I'm going with Cody to not finish him, but win by decision. Dan, was Cody the one who cost us some money in Vegas?
I was just about to say, Ty.
I kind of saw you looking there.
Against that guy. We were at that fight. He fought Dominic Cruz, who held the title, and he walked out with a cancer survivor and dedicated the fight to this kid.
Oh yeah, the little kid.
They didn't even tell us that information. That would have been important to know before we made our bet, and we lost. So
you were at the fight where he won the title?
Yeah,
we were there when he won the title and beat Dominic Cruz.
Okay,
so
that was a while ago then. A few years ago.
It was a while ago.
Was like going back 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But still, I think it might be a little bit of the opposite. He's going down in weight class. Yes, that could impact his, his health, his conditioning, cutting all that weight. But I think if anything, he's going to come in there as a more of the stronger fighter, coming down in weight class, and he's got a lot to prove. He's going to be hungry because, like Mike, you said, I think if he loses, he's done. And so I'm going to go for Cody.
Cody No Love for the win. All right, so what's next on the fight card?
The next fight is Jeff Neal versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. Did I pronounce that right? I was practicing that one all day, man.
I wouldn't be able to correct you if I was wrong. So
that's where we're going with this. Ponzinibbio.
Sounds good to me, man.
So this fight is a coin flip. We got the odds -110, -110, welterweight bout, and these are both two great MMA fighters. Neal, he's been outclassed in his last couple of fights. He fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He lost that fight. Santiago's nothing like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's a guy that, Wonderboy likes to bounce around, kind of like a Sean O'Malley, use different stances and hit you from all different angles, where Santiago will plant his feet in front of you and just want to bang. I see this fight getting stopped at some point during the fight. I don't see it going the distance. And I'm just going to give the edge to Neal just because he has that experience fighting a little bit more elite fighters. And I'm saying Neal by TKO in this fight. Nice. They both they'll have the knockout power as well. But
I was going to say, I don't know a ton about either of these fighters. So for this fight, I'm probably going to be like a few of my listeners and take your word for it. So, hopefully Neal gets the job done, and I might throw a little bet on that.
Don't bet the house though, Ty.
No. Yeah, don't worry.
We never do, Dan. We know our limit. We play within it.
100%. Just enough to make it a little more interesting when the pay-per-view's on.
That's right. So the next fight of the night, we got the co-main event women's bantamweight title. Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. And Nunes is going to absolutely...
Or Pena.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely obliterate her. Like, that's all. It's such an outclassed fight. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think that Nunes is going to go in there and she's going to win this fight however the hell she wants to, whenever the hell she wants to. She's a better grappler. She's a better, boxer, all around better fighter. I'm like, sure, the only way Pena could probably do it is if she gets lucky and catches her off guard with something. But I think she's going to do it in round one and in round two, and it'll be however the hell she wants to finish it.
Depending on how much TV time she wants, maybe she'll let her hang around a little bit more.
She doesn't like that. She likes to absolutely dominate, man. And I don't see her being. It's completely a mismatch of a fight. They got to find something for Nunes.
They've never fought before, right?
They've never fought before. No, they've never fought before. Yeah,
I think I totally agree with you. And yeah, they're running out of opponents. We've talked about this in past episodes that there's no one really for her to fight that would.
Yeah, no, you can't say to anyone that Pena is going to win this fight because of this. There's no way. I mean, Pena she's gonna win this fight. It's an absolute gamble. You're throwing money at it just for the odds, and you're gonna lose your money. That's the bottom line. She's not winning this fight.
Yeah, the odds are.
There's no way in hell she win this fight.
The odds are how they are for a reason. I mean,
yeah, and I bet you those get worse. They're minus 900 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if you're down to a minus.
I got on Bodog right now, minus 1,000.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's going to go down. They're going to
plus 600 for Pena.
But I mean, having said that, we all know that at any given time, it's a puncher's chance on a win, and crazier things have happened. When was last time that Nunes fought? Didn't she just come back from COVID and she was supposed to fight, I think, maybe in the summertime and then got COVID? So what type of, is there any hidden line? Maybe she literally doesn't really care about fighting anymore. You never know. Does she still have that drive? Anytime someone's at the top, the only place that they can go, obviously, is down. Now,
I like your theories here, but you're grasping at straws, in my opinion.
That being said, crazier things have happened.
Sounds like someone's placing a bet on Pena here.
Well, that guy obviously likes to gamble.
Yeah. Oh, man. But, yeah, no.
What about that last fight, Mike?
But her last fight?
Yeah. When was her last fight?
It must have been in the springtime. I don't know exactly when it was. You want me to look it up for you?
The fact check.
Here, let's see.
Let's get a fact check. Who was last time? When was the last time she fought? Who did she fight? And because I think it's been almost a year since she fought.
You got a bunch of questions here all of a sudden.
No, she definitely fought in the spring, I think.
She fought March 6th.
There you go.
UFC 259 against that Megan Anderson. First round submission. But yeah, so she hasn't been that
even there.
overall.
She beat her whenever she wanted, however the fuck she wanted.
And she only fought once in 2020, hey? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember her seeing.
She definitely hasn't been very busy lately.
As recent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but
I don't know.
Either way, don't listen to Dan, folks, unless you're, feeling lucky and want to take a little gamble.
If you want to shoot for
I was just looking at the list of opponents that Nunes has won and finished. Not just won, finished. Only one was the split decision, which was Valentina Shevchenko. Okay, Holly Holmes, Chris Cyborg, Raquel Pennington, Valentina Shevchenko, Ronda Rousey, Miesha
Shevchenko need to see again.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good. I think that's the only fight left to make.
She beat Shevchenko with a split decision and a decision. She's beat her twice. So, I mean...
Jeez. Yeah, that's true. Nothing
crazy
there anymore either.
You want to run through Pena's list of accomplishments?
All right, so it's time for the main event of the evening.
The main event of the evening, the lightweight championship fight. Another great fight, I think. It's got that fight of the night potential written all over it. Charles Oliveira, the current champion, is a plus 140 versus Dustin Poirier minus 160. I don't think anyone works harder than Dustin Poirier does in the UFC. He's relentless with his training. He's fought some crazy top caliber fighters. I mean, just look at his list of accomplishments. Conor McGregor, Pettis, Gaethje. He's fought Hooker, Alvarez. He's fought Khabib, lost to Khabib, but he's fought Khabib. That was his first title shot. This is his second title shot. Obviously, Oliveira is nothing like Khabib is or ever will be. Oliveira, a guy that almost like a Cinderella story, he was almost cut from UFC. He might have been cut from UFC 10 years ago or 11 years ago, comes back and just goes on a tear, fights his way up to becoming the champion. He had a great fight. His last outing against Michael Chandler. In that fight, he was rocked in the first round. I thought he was going to lose that fight in the first round. Comes back and he shows that he can strike. He's, obviously a grappler. That's his game. He's one of the best jiu-jitsu artists in MMA. I'm pretty sure he holds the record for the most submission victories in the UFC. He's just that good. It's a tough one. You got to give the striking edge to Poirier, and you got to give the grappling edge to Oliveira. my gut says that the stars are sort of just aligning for Dustin Poirier. I think it's his time, and I think he's going to take this fight. And I think that I think he finishes him. I think he finishes him in the second round too.
Wow, really?
Yeah, round number 2. Mark that down.
Nice. I do agree. I think Poirier is going to win the fight. I don't see it really ending that quick. I mean, obviously it could. But yeah, like you said, with the stars aligning, I think, you know, he's fought some crazy, like he's fought the UFC roster essentially. Like a few of them are losses. He's fought Alvarez, Holloway. He beat Gaethje. Like he's fought the who's who of the division for sure.
Yeah. Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker, like you said, do you think the stars are aligning in a way that he wins this fight? If he does, you think Conor is getting the next title shot?
I think there's definitely.
I think the UFC wants that to happen.
I know, right?
I hope he doesn't.
Yeah, there's some unfinished business.
I feel like they need to, just the way it ended, just because
just the way it ended, and
that would be huge. But Conor's walking around 200 pounds right now. Did you see him?
He's jacked. Have you seen him working out?
Yeah, I think he's going to make a push for heavyweight. I don't think he's going to make it back down to this lightweight division, man.
No, I think he wants to own 3 belts.
I think he wants that. I think he would obviously cut that and get down there. I think he really wants that fight. He wants that fight with Poirier to redeem himself. Obviously, it ended. He didn't really get beat. I mean, you could say he was losing the fight, but it was far from over. So I think the UFC for sure, like you said, Mike, I think they want the stars to land in that way, because that would be a huge money fight, especially with all the bad blood there.
And if Poirier is the champ, you have a lot of different ways you can go with it too. Like all that list of people we just mentioned.
Oh yeah.
You know, every one of them could be up for a rematch. It'd be a huge fight.
Even Holloway, because Holloway beat him the last time those two fought.
Yeah, Holloway.
But yeah, the list is endless. It'd be
the boogeyman. What's his name? Your buddy?
Tony Ferguson's done.
But he fought him too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I just mean in terms of but yeah, I think Poirier gets the W. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, holy shit. What a resume this guy's got. Even if he lost these fights,
he's fought everybody.
He has.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. I think it's his time. He literally just fought, not even 5 months ago was that McGregor fight?
Yeah.
And McGregor injured himself in the second round. So, it's not like he took very much damage. And I think it's his time. He's hungry. He wants that title. I think he's going to get that title. And 100%.
And I don't know if you remember,
I think I even called it before when Conor and Poirier fought that the winner of that fight was going to be the next lightweight champion.
Yeah.
And even the way Oliveira, he already had, that was his moment. Obviously he's still motivated, but you saw when he won the title, I don't think
he was supposed to lose that fight, not only for my bet,
for sure. But I don't think he's going to have that same desire as before. He reached the peak. He got his belt. I don't think he's going to have that same drive and killer instinct. He survived that first round and we thought he was done. Like you said with Chandler there, he dug himself out of that one.
We'll see what happens. Sometimes you get that championship mindset now that you're a champ, right? And you just.
But if he gets popped early in this fight like that, I don't think he'd have that same desire or need to keep going. I don't know. That's just
that'd be a good fight too. Chandler versus Poirier, even though I don't think that should happen next, but that'd be a crazy fight. 2 bangers.
But yeah, regardless. And I guess that's one thing you could say. You just wouldn't want Poirier to look past this fight. Not that I think
that's true. Well, he's not. I don't think he is, but we are.
We are 100%.
Because we're not even talking about if Oliveira wins. Oh, if Oliveira wins, there's a lot of options for him too. All those guys we just mentioned, minus Khabib, because Khabib's not fighting anymore. But any one of those guys would be a great fight. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm pumped. It's going to be a great night of fights. It's a stacked card.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, that was an awesome episode. Definitely went through a lot. Looking forward to seeing the results of Mike's guaranteed picks. And yeah, a great week. We're coming up to the end, getting close to the end of the NFL regular season. We'll hopefully talk a little bit about that next week. Maybe bring in a little of the fantasy picks, and the dirty talk with Dan Nandez might be reappearing. Hopefully Govic is back. I know he's busy with work. But as always, check us out on www.westcoastsportsjunkies.ca. You can find all of our handles, Instagram, Twitter. Check out some of our merchandise on there, and have a great week.